And tonight on our Great American panel, she is the former president of the Women's Media Center. Fox News contributor Jehmu Greene is back with us. And she, a co-host of The Five, dealing with Beckel 5 days a week. Fox News contributor. Listen, I love him, but 5 days is a little rough. And he is a senior editor at the American Spectator. John Fund is back. All right. Your old paper, the Opinion Journal page, actually had a headline today: HHS tells religious believers to go to hell. The public notices. And Kirsten Powers, I got to give a lot of credit to our Fox colleague. And she actually had a piece in the Daily Beast that said, hey, listen, the administration claims, she said, when religious freedom was weighed against access to birth control, why did freedom lose? It's a great point.
Well, look, obviously the Obama administration is under fire for legitimate policy reasons, but it also once again calls into question their political skills. Bill Daley, the departing White House chief of staff, argued bitterly against this. There were all kinds of people in the White House who said, don't do this. One of the reasons
they
said...
There were two of them, Joe Biden...
And Bill Daley.
And Bill Daley, Sebelius, and others argued the other way.
But here's the reason why they said no. Remember Bart Stupak and all those pro-life Democrats only voted for Obamacare when they got the president to issue an executive order saying we're going to be hands off the religious institutions, we're not going to have any kind of coercion, we're not going to have any kind of mandate. Well, Kathy Dahlkemper, former Democratic congresswoman from Pennsylvania who lost her seat because of her vote on Obamacare, she said, look, I was lied to. And a whole bunch of Democrats feel betrayed, and they said, look, it's one thing to do this. It's another thing to have assured us differently 16 months ago when we had to vote for this thing.
And it goes deeper, Andrea, because he also assured Catholic leaders. And this is what Bill Donahue was saying in the meeting with the bishop.
And he broke his promise. So if Republicans can make this a larger argument about religious freedom and not just about contraception, I think they have a winner on their hands, because I do think politically and policy-wise, John's right, they miscalculated this one. And if you look at what Speaker John Boehner came out and said today, he's going to take action on this, and he's going to do it legislatively. And if he does that, that is going to pose a huge issue, because that bill will pass the House, a religious freedom bill. But think about the position it puts conservative Democrats in the Senate.
Oh, big time.
time.
And they should do this more often. They don't do this enough.
I know.
Let me show everybody what John Boehner said.
If the president does not reverse the department's attack on religious freedom, then the Congress, acting on behalf of the American people and the Constitution that we're sworn to uphold and defend, must. The House will approach this matter fairly and deliberately through regular order and appropriate legislative channels.
Right, what you said. I mean, that puts a lot of people, Jehmu,
Can't be the birth control for all bill. It has to be something about religious freedom. And it will put these Democrats like Claire McCaskill in bellwether states like Missouri into a corner at odds with the president. It's brilliant.
That's why some have come out against him. Look, if you believe...
maybe it's a brilliant political argument, but Andrea, at the end of the day, this isn't about religious freedom.
Sure it is.
This is about discriminating against women and saying that you want to give the employers the right to dictate to women what type of health care they should have. That's what it boils down to.
No, it doesn't.
Contraception is health care. There's a reason 98% of Catholic women have used some form of birth control. But wait, let me finish, because at the end of the day, it's not about saying if you are, working at the church and you're a Catholic or you're a Lutheran that, you then have to have access to this policy. It is saying if the church is providing services to
Can I add one point here?
Everyone,
hang on one second.
That you cannot dictate your religion.
You're missing the point. As a Catholic, I can tell you something here.
If they want it.
This goes directly against the teaching of the church.
It does.
Whether you agree or disagree. The government now, what you're supporting here is the government mandating, compelling, forcing the church to go against their own teachings.
Why, Sean, are there so many churches that already provide this for the hospital systems they run, for the schools
then why
do
Democrats need to mandate it, Jehmu?
Because it's a way of politicizing
all these women have
healthcare.
access to it. Then why do they do this?
Politicizing women's health care.
If the federal government wants to give out free contraception, they can set up carts in front of any place they want.
It's already fund Planned Parenthood.
They can give more money to Planned Parenthood. They can do anything they want. But you cannot go into an institution that has a specific religious purpose with specific religious tenets and say, we are going to make you do this and you are going to like it.
Let me tell you why Andrea is right also. You're right on your point and Andrea is right on her point. Politically speaking, you can see they decided to start backing off of this But it was only the political unit and David Axelrod and the guys that are in Chicago right now. They see the danger of this, but they painted themselves, we were discussing this with Michelle Malkin, they painted themselves into a corner.
Yeah, think about where are Catholics? Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Ohio. It's a big demographic that he won in 2008, and then he desperately...
Liberal Catholics will leave in droves because of this.
Right. We saw the outrage just last week, Andrea, when the American people said, do not politicize women's health. So all of your predictions about how this is going to work against President Obama...
I agree.
I think y'all need not politicize
President Obama should double down on
Romney
stupidity.
Becomes the nominee.
Great idea. I think
he had this same policy.
You would keep advising him, and I hope everybody around him agrees, because if the president locks into this position and he doesn't back out of it, which is going to be difficult, I think he's going to pay a political price for it, because I think, as Andrea points out, there's a lot of Catholics that pro-choice or pro-life, it doesn't matter. They don't want the government mandating that their church be forced to do something against their own teachings and against what they believe is conscionable for them.
It has nothing to do with pro-choice or pro-life. This contraception
listen to me.
is healthcare.
I just said that.
Contraception decreases the rates of ovarian cancer.
It's not about birth control. It's about religious liberty and freedom, and the government forcing their values down churches' throats.
Imagine if they did this to Muslims. Oh, boy, look out.
You thought Rick Perry got into trouble with what he did in Texas. This is exactly on the flip side.
Big time.
And it was a bunch of liberals who attacked Rick Perry for what he was doing. They should have the same sensitivity on this issue.
I'll quote Dick Cheney, big time. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Jehmu, you like that, huh? That was pretty good. More with our great American panel straight ahead. And we'll continue with our Great American panel. All right, during the break, we had a pretty big battle break out here between Jehmu and Andrea Tantaros. You said to Andrea she wouldn't be here today, sitting in that chair, but for birth control.
Absolutely.
How you don't know anything? Do you know her personally?
Liberals know everything, Sean.
Most women,
they can make
how could you make that statement?
Pursuing their professions and have successful careers, we would not be able.
You said personally, you attacked Andrea.
It wasn't for the pill. 50th anniversary of the birth control pill was just last year.
You said that to her. You don't know.
It has dramatically increased our ability to pursue our professional dreams and to control our lives. Family planning is what has bolstered.
You want to double down on this?
Right movement.
I'd back off while you had the chance.
I'm doubling down because it's a fact.
This sums up liberalism in a nutshell. We know better. We know your personal lives, and now we want to make judgment calls for you. And in fact, you should thank us for the judgment calls that we've made.
Because they're morally superior.
Because thanks to, according to Jehmu, who doesn't really know me at all, I'm in this seat because of birth control. That is the biggest load of you know what I think I've ever heard out of a liberal's mouth in my entire life.
I think when you look at single, successful women in this country, that we all should celebrate the fact that we have access to birth control. How could you say that about somebody you don't know? You don't know anything about it. Because otherwise, many of us would probably be barefoot and pregnant.
Oh, my
and you know
goodness.
that's the case.
You know, John?
I'm smart enough to stay out of this
one. But that is such an insult
many people
to
on
women,
the right
Jehmu.
would like to
Think
see us
about
go back to. Why do you want to take away birth control?
If it wasn't
Why do you
for
want
the
to
pill,
take away access to birth control to the most vulnerable communities who need it?
If it
Why do you
wasn't
want to
for the
take it
pill,
away?
Take it away.
I would be, and women would be barefoot and pregnant?
The church is saying they have deeply held religious views. We have the free exercise of religion in this country, freedom of religion. They can practice their religion, but the government is going to mandate that they can't practice their religion the way they want to, because they're going to have to do something that contradicts their religion, and the government's going to mandate it. And you don't believe, obviously, in religious freedom or liberty, or else you wouldn't be advocating for the government to take that power. This is about government power and religious freedom.
If they choose to serve the public and to hire employees,
because you think it's right, just like liberals think redistributing wealth is right.
They need to provide the same amount of health care to women.
Right, it's unfair.
As a segue,
to women. This is discrimination against women at the end of the day.
Let's stipulate that government has done an awful lot to have men become much less responsible in this area. If men acted more responsibly, we'd also have a lot fewer pregnancies. We'd also have a lot fewer unwanted children. And, you know, we have this Heritage Foundation report on dependency in America.
23% increase under Obama.
This is astonishing because one of the worst things is it used to be in a recession you would have dependency go up as people fell on hard times. In this case, even when government sees
$5
economic growth,
trillion.
even when government sees economic growth of 3%, dependency goes up 8%. So you have this constant ratcheting up effect. Dependency encourages irresponsible behavior. And that is one of the things that we have to address, because dependency has gone up 23% under this administration.
So it's astonishing.
Well, don't forget, Nancy Pelosi believes that birth control is stimulative. Those were comments that she made. And a lot of this is for population control, Jehmu. This has nothing to do with women's health.
Population control?
Yeah, this is what liberals are doing. That's exactly what they're doing.
Dramatically decreases ovarian cancer.
And is it stimulative?
Andrea,
Really?
That is a medical fact.
Is it stimulative?
It is a medical fact.
But that's not what you're arguing.
Why can't people be responsible if they want to engage in the behavior to get their own birth control? You want to engage in
Many
behavior.
women can't afford it, Sean.
Oh, okay. So,
yes,
so people, so you're going to take money from people that disagree from a religious vantage point and force them to pay for it.
Right.
I got to go. It's all the time we have left.